Ask and you shall receive. A lot of you guys have been waiting for this moment that none of us even really knew was gonna happen, but Reebok listened to all your cries about the Lite mids, and they're gonna be bringing them out online on October 1st. You heard that right, that is on Monday. Honestly, I didn't even know that these were gonna come out or make it out until the beginning of the day when I saw it on Instagram, so I really didn't have a review prepared for these, but I've been using for like the last 6 months, so I have plenty of experience using these shoes, so it's easy for me to talk about them. So these initially came out at a Mark Bell seminar earlier on in the year in like April, and they were exclusive to that event. They only had 200 pairs. I think they sold a few of them after the fact, but they only had 200 pairs in total. They retailed for $150, which was kind of a kick in the face considering that the old ones retailed for $100. But for those of you that were fans of the shoe, myself included, it was a pretty easy amount to pay because these are probably the best, or those were probably the best powerlifting shoes that you could possibly get your hands on. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh man, why don't you just use Chucks? Well, if you want to use Chucks, use Chucks. The resurrection of the Lite mids brought along one huge new feature, and that is the Flexweave Upper, but don't be fooled by the name because these are not as flexible as the original shoes, the original leather Lite mids. The Flexweave, honestly, it's probably more just like a decorative piece than it is functional because there is still a layer of fabric under it. They're not open like on the Nano 8s. There's no like mesh or anything under it. It is just a closed almost inside on top of or on bottom of the Flexweave. So that was one thing that I found odd with these. Now, one thing that you are saving is a little bit of weight with these shoes. They do weigh like 1 ounce less. I think I weighed these at 12.77 ounces for the Flexweaves in a size 10, and then I weighed the original ones in leather at a 13.62, and those ones once again are the leather ones, and they're a size 9.5, so they're also smaller than the brand new ones. Other than that, you're not really going to see a whole lot of differences between the two shoes. There is that new upper. The tongue remains the exact same. The little heel clip is the exact same. It still says CrossFit on it for some reason. I think they definitely should have pulled that off. And I honestly think that is one of the reasons why this shoe did not sell all that well in the first place, because it has that branding on it. And I know a lot of you guys do not like CrossFit, or powerlifters do not really like CrossFit. The whole shape of the shoe is pretty much the exact same thing. There's not really any differences besides like the sides here on the Flexweave don't have this little ankle circle thing that honestly doesn't really do a whole lot anyways. The ankle collar itself is cushioned in the exact same ways. The outsole is the exact same thing. It's got those little holes on it that are supposed to act like suction cups. And then it's got the little lip on the outside. That has not changed. It's still there. That's to give you a little bit more width to torque your feet into the ground. One thing that I really wish they did change with these is the size of the laces. The laces are ridiculously long on these shoes. If you tie these up, you end up with a ton of lace left, which I always thought was kind of annoying. I guess you could kind of just get new laces or you can clip them, but that was one annoyance to me. The build quality of these, though, is excellent. The Flexweave Upper on these really holds your foot in place excellent. And I honestly, like, when I first got them, I thought that, wow, they're not flexible, but when I started using them, it was a huge upgrade over the leather models that feel a little bit sloppy in comparison to the new Flexweave models. There's no official like word about the drop of these shoes, but to be honest with you, it's got to be somewhere between 0 and 4 millimeters. They're very, very flat shoes, and that's for a reason. For those low bar squats, box squats, and deadlifts, you're gonna want a really flat platform, and they deliver on that front. If they're like at max, they're probably I don't know, 4 millimeters. So when you guys go to size your Powerlite mids, make sure you get these a half size smaller than your normal training shoe size. My normal training shoe size and my Flexweaves are a size 10, and these do definitely run a half size big like the originals did. I got these in a size 10 because I just was not sure, and I'm able to work out in them, but there is a good amount of room in the toe box, which is extremely wide for those duck feet people. The inside of these shoes is also very flat, so if you have any kind of issues with arch support, you're not going to have that issue with these shoes. They are extremely flat shoes. Just make sure that you size them a half size down. They should fit on the snug side, because you don't really want your foot sliding around when you're deadlifting, sumo deadlifting, or squatting. So flexibility and comfort, once again, I did not find that these were very flexible at all, but it's not like you're going to be running or jumping in these shoes. These shoes are meant to squat and deadlift, and I really like the fact that the upper now is a little bit more taut, and it's a little bit more rigid. It doesn't allow your foot to slide around or push out the sides when you're doing any kind of like sumo deadlifts or when you're torquing out for like box squats or anything. The comfort of these shoes, I mean, they breathe pretty well for what it's worth, but you know, they're not the most comfortable shoes to wear over time. I find that, I mean, for most like powerlifting sessions, they're fine because you're honestly not really moving around all that much, so your feet don't really get all that hot. Flexibility and comfort is kind of like a null point when it comes to these shoes, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Stability of these shoes is, however, excellent. Once again, that Flexweave Upper is very, very rigid in comparison to the old leather ones, and the platform on these shoes is extremely wide and flat, which gives you a very solid platform to lift with. Power delivery on these shoes is excellent. There's really no cushioning. I mean, there's a really minuscule like insole, but it's just like a basic insole. It does not get in the way of any of your lifts, and it is removable. If you just wanted to take it out, just take it out and you can get rid of that. The response in these shoes is excellent. You start pushing and you'll start going. I've set plenty of PRs in these shoes. I hit like a 490 box squat. I've deadlifted multiple times over 500 pounds in these shoes. These are a must-have. If you are a competitive powerlifter, you need to have these shoes. The ankle support, honestly, I could deal without. I'm not a huge fan of the mid-cut for like squatting. It's okay for like conventional deadlift, but for sumo deadlift, I just kind of feel like it kind of gets in the way. But I know a lot of people like to like sumo deadlift in mid shoes. It's just not for me. So when these shoes came out at the seminar early in the year, they costed $150, which honestly is kind of ridiculous considering the original ones retailed from $80 all the way up to, I think the most expensive one was $120 for the leather mid tops. The price increase to these, honestly, over those, if they're still in good working condition, is not worth it. These are an amazing powerlifting shoe, and they are the best powerlifting shoe, but if your original leather ones are still in working shape, you do not need to upgrade to these. If you are looking for the best powerlifting shoe just in general and you don't care about spending $150, then you know this is the one. I highly recommend it. It's a really, really solid shoe, and I think for competitive powerlifting, this is the best shoe that you could possibly get. And you should definitely look into the Powerlite mids. They come out on Monday, October 1st. And I do not know what they're gonna cost, but I hope that they do not cost $150. If you guys have any questions about the Reebok Powerlite mids, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.